Hi, recently I began to feel a lack of communication. I tried to send messages, but no one replied. And I was thinking, what if I create a messenger where I can talk to myself? Why not? Why not? And I call it.
Self-Enjoy.
We need two things: Xcode and a cup of coffee. Here we go. Create a new Xcode project because we are bad guys. Choose single view app. Everything in the world starts from a single view. Guy Fawkes helps me to be anonymous. It's very important today. You can find my personal stuff on Instagram. I've invited a small cat that learns how to type slow as me. I saved the project to my desktop. In the beginning we use main storyboard. Here we can build the interface. Drag label from the object library. UI label displays text which has a type string. We also need to add constraints. They help us to calculate size of this label on different devices. But now this is not important. These constraints do spacing. I added 20 to leading, 20 to trailing, and 0 to top spacing constraints. Now we drag text field and button from the object library. We will type some text into the text field and button will enter it into the app. Here we added another constraints for new objects. How it looks? There are text fields constraints. Leading to left frame equals 20. Spacing to bottom frame equals 0. And trailing to button left side equals 10. For button, we added a trailing constraint to right frame which equals 20. Instead of adding bottom constraint, we vertically centered it to the text field. Now the interface looks the same on all devices. Almost. What's that? A good dog sniffed constraints warning. We just changed buttons hugging priority to 251. Looks nice. Now let's set up our objects in Attributes Inspector. First, let's change the title of the button because it's not cool when a button calls button. Next, change the label's number of lines from 1 to 0. 0 means infinite lines of text. Also, we can make a placeholder for the text field. Type a message. Obviously and brutally. We've finished programming by mouse. We should write a code in the connected view controller. We can see a title of it in Identity Inspector on the right side of the window. Click on the Assistant Editor button and hide all the tools which you don't need for now. We need outlets. By pushing Control button, drag the label to the view controller. You can name them as you want, but it must be understandable for you. This UI label will show messages, so it should be named Messages label and typed from downcased letter because it's a property, and so on. This is a good code manners. Do the same for the text field. Also, control drag a button to our view controller, but now we need an action, not an outlet. Methods should be named from downcased letter 2. Name it somehow and don't forget about your good code manners. Change the type from any to UI button. Connect. There is a function or method has been created. This method performs when you touch the button. Now we need to work with text field and label outlets located above. Read UI text field documentation. It's very important. Come on, stop the video and read it. Text field has an optional string property called text. This is all what we need. It is a special pattern of unwrapping optional values. I'll explain it later somehow. We just need to save the text from the text field into the separate constant and use it later. If you read a documentation about UI label, you may know that labels also have a property called text, and it's also string. In this line of code, we give a value to the text property of the label. Here we add a pattern that gives us a value of text of the label before we touch that button, otherwise it gives us an empty symbol. We need it because it's possible to get new value instead of text. We add that pattern for the world security. Backslash and n is the escape sequence, that means to start new line of text. I want 2 lines and I write down 2 new line escape sequences one by one. We add a constant with the text from text field to our label. And finally, let's erase our text field. Set new value to the text property. Nil means nothing, not zero, not empty symbol, just nothing. Void, black hole. Easy! Click on play button. The app is compiling and running. We've made this app. I won't stand out and type hello world. Oh, somebody sent hello world. Hi man, how are you? I'm fine. Do you see here is written label? It's not aesthetic and immoral. Let's fix it. We need to find the method in view controller that called view did load. This method executes when the view did load, of course, just before a view appears on the screen. Here we can do any updates. Let's set labels text property to nil. Okay, now it works good. Hi, something changed. Sure. What's the difference, do you know? Not really. Something. You may notice that all the text in the app is black. It's a big issue because I don't know which message has been sent by me and which message has been sent by my alter ego. How we can cover it? Here, NSAttributedString comes to help. You can choose a different font or color on different words or line of text and to do many things with it. But now let's talk about variables and constants. If we want to create a chest where we can put some value, for example data type money, and change this value later, then we need to declare a variable by using keyword var, and this chest will be readable and mutable. If we need to create a chest where we can put some money but we won't need to take them out of the chest and change its value, we declare a constant by the keyword let. It's important because constants have different way of compiling and your app will work faster if you properly divide your properties into constants and variables. Let's check the documentation. Does our label support attributed strings? As you see, it does. First, let's create a mutable variable which contains messages. We need a variable because we add more attributed strings in there. We initialize it by the type NSMutableAttributed_string. This data type represents something like a mutable array of attributed strings. Now add a let constant that will store an attribute for the text from the first user. Let first attribute dictionary type NSAttributedString key any that has values NSAttributedString key foreground color UI color blue, which is about text color. We may delete NSAttributedString key because the compiler knows what we are talking about because we defined a type. Next, we create a constant second attribute that has enum value foreground color UI color purple. They are both constants because we don't need to change them, never, just read. And next we create a boolean variable that handles only true and false values. Use first attribute. We need to read and change it in the future. Our button function has to be changed a bit. We initialize an NSAttributedString and put a string from the text field and add an attribute in it. Here we can use a ternary operator that asks our boolean value on the top, is it true? If boolean var answers true, then according its name we put a constant first attribute with the blue color. If it is false, we put a second attribute that contains purple color. Also add our new line escape sequences. And what about messages label? Let's try to set our messages variable with attributed strings to it. Oh no! String and NSAttributed string are different, but don't panic, as we have seen in documentation, UI label is able to handle attributed string. Just change .text to .attributed text. After enter, we need to change a value of useFirstAttribute variable for getting another color for next message. Let's assign it to not itself. In Swift, exclamation mark means not. If it was true, it will be false. You can also write if useFirstAttribute equals true, then set it false. Or you can even write if useFirstAttribute, then set it false. But cool hackers write compact code. Play button, run the program. Build succeeded. Now I can comfortably and cozy talk to myself. You are a good one. I think together we can upgrade this app in the future. If you have any questions, don't be shy to ask them. Share your ideas how we can upgrade that app. Like this video if you enjoyed. I need 5 likes and we'll continue to work with Softenger, and also I'll show you how to troubleshoot keyboard appearance on top of the text field. Have a nice day. Bye.
This channel. No! No! Like when I'm in